Hey, Slater Crusaders, America's greatest country in the world. Thanks so much for being here. Hope you had a great weekend. Welcome back to it. We got Professor Vincent Rancaniello, of course, coming up at the end of the show. We're going to talk about COVID and some of the latest with the vaccines. And we're also going to talk to a guy who made a film called Save Our States. And it's about the Electoral College and the left's attempt to get rid of it and bring in the popular vote. And we're going to talk about the electoral process, which will, I believe, come into play in 50 days, or whatever we got left. Regrettably, I want to start here on a Monday. I don't usually like to do this on Mondays, but alas. This is a headline. Man shot and killed by police in Lancaster. That's it. That's all the information they want to give you there. The original headline, they changed it. The original headline was, an investigation is underway after a man was shot and killed by police following a report of a domestic disturbance. At least that headline showed that there was a domestic disturbance going on, right? The original headline, man shot and killed by police, makes it just seem like a police officer was walking down the street and just decided to kill a guy. So, but an investigation's underway. Here is a picture from the police officer's body cam. That is a knife in the man's hand, which means investigation over. That's all the investigation needed. But of course, more protests and riots in Lancaster. I used to live near it, near Lancaster, small town outside Philadelphia. It's 60,000 people. It's Amish country. Very similar, this is significant, it's a very similar deal to Kenosha. Right? It's one thing to have Portland destroy itself, right? Or even Seattle or LA. People are used to that. Kenosha, that's every town in USA, same with Lancaster. But the shooting couldn't be more obvious, right? The legitimacy of this shooting, right? The guy was running at the police officer with a giant knife. The cop had to choose between shooting him or being stabbed to death. And I guess the cop is racist because he chose the wrong option, apparently, or something. How could you possibly protest this scenario? These are situations where the progressive idea to respond to certain 911 calls with social workers is absurd. Maybe there's some situations where that makes sense. But they can't be the first contact. You can't have a social worker make the first contact. Right? There's way too many unknowns. A social worker would have knocked on this guy's door and been stabbed in the neck. So now what? Now what do you do? You need police officers, obviously, to respond to things like this. And everyone knows it, especially the woman who called 911 for help. Just like the woman who called for help from her rapist in Kenosha. How could Black Lives Matter protest over this? Protest over anything, and they'll make anyone a martyr. But watch the video here. This is the body cam from the police officer. And I think the thing that I take away from it, look how fast this happens, right? Think about all the Monday morning quarterbacks, every time there's a police shooting, who are like, well, you should have shot the knife out of his hand, which is clearly someone who's never shot a gun before. Or even things like, oh, you should have talked to him first before you just kill him. Here's the video.
28 coming your way. Quarter 2, you go.
Where'd they go? Get back, get back.
From the time he appears at the door until he's shot is 4 seconds. 4 seconds. Wow. That was deep and insightful. I want more of that. Like, subscribe, get more.